Hello everyone, thank you for watching, and in this channel I talk about the raw vegan diet, raw food diet. So if you want to learn more about getting healthier on a raw vegan diet and how to thrive on it, then continue to watch. And you might want to subscribe as well. And in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit, I suppose. Um, the coronavirus whole situation of this year. I was watching yet another coronavirus government briefing in which amazingly everything's still getting worse and worse, and it's spreading more and more, and there's more and more people die, higher numbers of people than all, like, and at the same time on the screen it clearly says uh, deaths for any reason within 28 days of a positive test. And if you test everyone in hospital, then that's surely everyone can see the lunacy around those numbers. Surely, I'm like, you must see that. Like, how can you count any death as coronavirus because of a positive test 28 days ago? I don't understand that. Well, I understand it. I don't understand how people don't all how people just take that and go, right, that sounds right. Don't like, I'm getting angry anytime I watch this stuff. I'm getting angry, and you might say, just ignore it. Yeah, you can ignore it, but we're talking about. I just hate. Personally, I try to go towards what's true and what's the truth, and what really I struggle with is being placed into this world of lies that everyone is buying into. And I'm really struggling with that. I'm really angry at the people that are enforcing this, mostly for their own for their own benefit, for their own gain, to protect their own career. And I get such like hatred towards these people coming up, and um, I'm looking at that and I'm going, right, what can I do here? Ideally I would like, I don't like it that when the world was normal, the hospitals were full of people dying for horrible deaths from diseases that they should have never had. And that there was no, and they weren't told the truth. And the medical establishment and the government and everyone wasn't telling people the truth, you know? And people were getting diagnosed every day and put on drugs that they didn't need. And this horrible, horrible situation was continuing. And I could kind of put up with it, probably partly because because I was trying to play my part in getting this message out with the festival, with online things, with this channel, and I was playing some kind of a part or a role in that. And ultimately, it wasn't affecting all the healthy people. It wasn't affecting all the people that hadn't yet fully succumbed to chronic disease, despite the fact that most people are moving towards that rapidly. Um, it wasn't putting restrictions on people's lives. People could operate and run their life, and businesses could continue. And it's a sad thing that people are all sick, and most people are sick to huge levels without realizing it. But it is what it is. It was what it was, and life continued. And the healthy people could continue doing all the things that kept them healthy, and can participate in all the things that make life worthwhile, like interacting with people in real life settings, being in groups, being in community, um, being in an audience and watching something as a group together, appreciating music or art or whatever, cinema, theatre, sports, participating in sports and watching sports in a group. Like, these are all important things. And what's happened in the last 9 months is that we've restricted everyone else's freedom with some attempt to protect a very small amount of people that would be vulnerable to coronavirus, with the absolute knowledge that the people vulnerable to coronavirus are vulnerable because of the chronic diseases that they already have most of the time, and that those chronic diseases are caused by lifestyle choices, in particular diet. And one thing I think about fruit and raw food is, regardless of how uncomfortable the idea makes you, made me, it is the truth. And that's, I was kind of arguing back and forth with someone in the comments recently about that. It is so obviously the truth, that that people completely miss it regardless. And it's so obvious to every single person that's ever eaten a piece of fruit. You eat fruit, you feel fine, you feel better. You eat almost anything else, you get some negative side effect from almost everything that you eat. The only thing you don't is fruits, vegetables, a few raw foods. Like, it's so obvious. The whole concept of, like, we take food, organic materials, and boil it, and that's what food is. Like, that's just wild. It's normal to think like that, but it is a crazy idea that we would barbecue, that we would roast, that we would do all these. Like, it's craziness that people think like that. But it's conventional and normal, and everyone gets in line, and everyone thinks the same, and everyone stays safe. You know, I understand that. So it's, but most of the time, it's not affecting everyone else. And this year, it's just been affecting everything. And what I hate, and it's the fact that most people still agree with it. This really gets to me. Most people have bought in hook, line, and sinker to the government line of thought. The Scientific Advisory Committee, Scientific Advisory Government, whatever it is, SAGE. The people have just bought into this particular ideology, because as far as I can see, it is ideology. It's not truth. It's not science anymore. Masks aren't science. There's no science around masks. Otherwise, why would we have been allowing so many people to die over decades and decades and decades from flus and other respiratory viruses when they could have worn masks? Like, we wouldn't have worked that out before. We wouldn't have known that. They knew that masks don't work. So, craziness. In fact, masks can make things worse. And then lockdowns in themselves have never been really done before. Never been proven. We don't know if they work or not. Good chance. Looking at lockdowns around the world, there's not any, like, specific connection between how strong a lockdown was and how bad the virus or the deaths were and stuff like that. It's not very clear. So it's kind of, it's, I don't know, it's tough. But what I'm getting to is the point where I feel like the only way that I can truly set my expectations to be more realistic at this time is to assume that life will not get back to normal for a long time. And I'm starting to think it could be 5 to 10 years. And I know that sounds crazy, but to me, the whole idea of locking down in the first place seemed crazy. And then the idea of that lockdown going from 3 weeks to 9 months. And I understand that the restrictions haven't been as strict all along, but there's been lockdown in place where businesses couldn't operate, where basically live events, sports, music, all this stuff has not been possible in a live setting for 9 months, where churches aren't able to open properly, where funerals, people are restricted from, like, it's lunacy, it's absolute lunacy, the whole thing. And I'm angry that people have bought into it so much. And what I'm seeing at the moment is children. I can't believe how much children have been blamed for this. Like, we've got to close all the schools, we've got to close all the schools, we've got to close all the schools. Like, I can't believe people are saying that. There isn't any evidence that children are spreading this. There isn't any evidence that children are at any risk, because healthy people aren't at risk. And children tend to be healthier just because of their age and the fact that they've not done as much damage to their bodies as other people have. But unfortunately, they all eat the diet that does cause the damage, and they are damaged, which is really sad that we damage children with this horrendous diet that people want to continue to stick up for. It's very hard. It's very hard. But I'm going to have to assume festivals won't happen even 2021, which would mean the UK Fruit Fest as well. I'm going to have to assume that. How can I assume anything else? Like, even the vaccines coming in, what happened was there was announcements about the vaccine, and then all of a sudden they're talking about another strain. And all of a sudden there's this new strain circulating and we need to lock down even more. It's all propaganda. The new strain was around ages ago. Coronavirus was around way before the lockdown too. There was no excess deaths until the lockdown started. People died because of lockdown. People want me to explain all this to them, and I'm like, you're a responsible person. Have you not looked into all the information available to you? Okay, you haven't, right? So I need to go back and look and find all this for you. Great. Well, here's how it works. When you tell people to stay home, they stop going to hospital. And they then die at home because they don't go to hospital. And then when the hospitals think there's going to be such an influx of people that they need to prioritize younger people, and they stop giving treatment to older people, and they refuse to let older people come in, that means that those people die at home as well. And that's blood on the hands of these idiot modelers, guys like Neil Ferguson, that came up with ridiculous numbers about 500,000 people dying. Complete nonsense. And our government bought into it. And the cash registers, the cash machines started to, the shareholders of vaccine companies started to smell money, and decided this was the greatest opportunity ever to rape the governments of the world for money. should be very little money in healthcare. Should be very, very little money in it. The only way you get money in it is by making people think that their health is in the hands of someone else. That a scientist is going to invent something that's going to be good for your health. That a scientist is going to cure cancer. That a drug company is going to cure heart disease. That they're going to find drugs that stop people getting diabetic. They're never ever going to find any of these things. We can't break the laws of nature, the laws of chemistry, bio and biology. We can't do it. And that's the truth. Healthcare is about self-care. It's about looking after yourself. And it should be automatic. It should be that everyone's brought up on a healthy diet. The idea that people get brought up on a diet that causes disease is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And yet a lot of you at Christmas go and sit around a table, like myself, with relatives eating this insane diet. And we're all sitting there kind of not saying anything about it because it'll be a bit uncomfortable. And yet you know that they're all killing themselves. Crazy. Really crazy. Really crazy. So I wanted to make this video maybe to make myself feel better about all this. I don't think I really do, but I think my expectations need to be 5 years, 10 years. Unfortunately, we let the public, let the lunatics take control. So life as we know it has been ruined. Maybe forever. Maybe forever. Maybe for good. Who knows? See, I kind of thought, well, when the vaccine comes, maybe things will end, and then I realised, nah, that's not going to be what happens. It's not going to be what happens. The vaccine will come and things will continue. Because another virus will come along, and then every year there'll be a coronavirus, and every year people will be up in arms about, we should be locking down. It'll actually be the public. The public has been trained like a bunch of idiots that they'll be the ones crying to the government, lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. And I'm happy with lockdown, right? Let's lock down, but here's what we do. If we lock down, public sector workers take the same pay cut as, restaurant workers, barbers, all the people who have to shut down. Give public sector employees a pay cut too. That'd be a good idea. Make sure that every single scientist involved, it has zero connections with any corporate companies. Zero. If they've got shares, they have to get rid of the shares. If they work for them, they have to stop working for them. They have to have no connection, no bias, no incentive with the vaccine company. I mean, I think that makes sense. And then what else? What else can we do? Yeah, I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy to lock down. Make sure everyone gets a pay cut. If you're going to stop people having their job because they worked in a restaurant or a venue or a club or a pub or something, if you're going to make all those people lose their job, let's cut some public sector workers. And the nurses and the doctors as well, make sure they get a pay cut. And none of that will ever happen. None of that will ever happen. And yet that's what led so many people to be absolutely happy with locking down. Like, of course, just chill at home, do nothing, get paid the same. That's, it's crazy. Pure laziness, selfishness, all that stuff came into play. And And then to blame the children in the schools and the schools should lock down. I don't know. We're talking about like borderline evil people now. Borderline evil levels of selfishness. I saw a guy in a forum the other day saying, if anyone in my family dies because of COVID and I see people flouting the rules, I will kill. Yes, I will kill them. Like, good for you. Weird, isn't it? People have really bought into it, and the public are like, that's what I hate. That for the rest of my life, there's going to be this public outcry. Let's lock down again, lockdown, yeah, lockdown. Fine, lock down, but you take a pay cut. Don't not all the restaurant owners and all these people, like, not just them deal with it. Everyone deals with it. So, anyway, I don't know. I'm just ranting. I'm just saying stuff, and like, that's what I feel like. I need to think 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, rest of our lives, restrictions in place. So eventually we just have to. I mean, I thought there'd be a bit more of a resistance movement. I think as the weather gets better, there'll be more gatherings, and there'll start to be bigger gatherings, and maybe that'll be the end to it. I don't know. Maybe we need to force it open, but you've got a majority of the public that accept it, believe in it, want it. And it's really sad. Anyway, thank you for watching me, and I don't know if this video is any good, but feel free to put a comment below. I just wanted to put something out there. On New Year's Day, something nice to say. On New Year's Day, gonna have a live class. Hopefully with Dr. Doug Graham, I think. He'll be part of it. And the idea is to help people with planning, goal setting for the new year in terms of your health and your fitness, your plans and making goals for the year. So hopefully that'll be a good thing. And you can join and it'll be free, and yeah, we'll move forward into 2021. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and see you in another video.